Hey guys, Double Wide 6, and recently I was driving my truck. I had a load on it and I hit the brakes pretty hard and I lost my brakes, and the reason was I had a rusty brake line. Luckily it wasn't that long of a line. You can see here these are made of steel, which I'm not sure why they make them out of steel, but they rust, and this had a pinhole leak. So I was thinking I'd make a little video for you, show you how to bend the tubing and also how to flare the ends. So you can buy 25-50 foot lengths of brake tubing in whatever size you actually need. My truck calls for 3/16, and what we're going to do is I'll show you how to make the bends. You can also buy pre-bent brake line. So if you're going to replace the whole vehicle, you can buy the lines already bent. So here's how you do this. You're going to start out with a little bit of line, and try and cut off your brake line and keep it together so you can look at those bends. So our first bend is like a 90 here. So I'm just kind of guesstimating where it's going to be. You could mark that with like a marker if you wanted to. This is a tubing bender, and it's a pretty nice one. It bends the tubing very well. You lock it in, and then you just take the handle, and that'll make your bend. It's always good to leave your ends a little bit long. We can always cut them off at the end with a pipe cutter. That's the best way to cut it and get a good end. So that one's a little long, and now we want to go down to here. So let me grab a marker. I'm just going to mark that where I want the bend to be. So we got one bend, and these don't have to be exact. There's where I want my next bend, and according to me that one looks like it's a 45-degree bend, so that's what we're going to shoot for. So we'll take our tool, line that up with 0 right where that mark is. We'll lock the tool in, and we'll bend it around till we get to about 45. So we got that bend, and now we're coming down this way, and we want to go here with about a 90. So I'll mark that, and we need to get a 90 there. Oops. So I like to hold this here so I can see what I'm doing. So it's a 90 that way. So we'll take our tool and we'll set it on here like this. Gets a little bit confusing, but if you take your time you can do it properly. So we'll make that one a 90. And then all you do is you go back and you see what you have. So that looks pretty good. The only thing is this is coming out towards me, so this needs to be bent out just like that. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. And as I said, it doesn't have to be exact. It's not that critical, because you're going to have to fidget it to lock it into the clips and get it all set up. So that's half the battle, just being able to bend it. You get yourself a good hollow tube pipe bender and a pipe cutter, you should be in business. The next thing you need to do is your flaring. So I'm also going to cover that in this video because that's a little tricky. So tell you what, I'll cut that off or get some scrap and we'll do some flares. Okay guys, we're going to show you how to flare the ends, and if you take a look, this is the flare that we're working on. It's actually a double flare, and this kit, these are readily available. I'll link a kit down in the description that you can use. Basically it has this die, and it also has the press to make the flaring. Now what you do is you take your brake line and you want to start out by putting your fitting on there. So you might want to put both fittings facing opposite ways on that line so you don't forget. If you forget, you wouldn't be the first person to forget. Alright, and then you're going to take your die and you want to slip the brake line in here on the appropriate size. So that says 3/16 there. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that this is protruding through the die the same amount as the 3/16 fitting. So here, this comes in the kit. You want it sticking through the same amount as the bottom part of this fitting. You can see how they're both hopefully at the same height. And then you secure down the wing nut. So I'm putting that in there, and then what I like to do is put this entire die in the vise. That way we can hold it. So I'll clamp this in the vise so that we can show you what we're doing. Alright, so that's in there, and now what we want to do is tighten up that wing nut. So to do that, we'll just use this rod that comes with the kit. Looks like I already had it pretty tight, so we just want to keep it parallel with the die. And this real small 3/16 die has a little point on it. You're going to slip that right in the pipe, and now we're ready to press our first flare. So we're going to take our tool here, kind of slip that over. There we go. And we'll tighten this down by hand. And what we need to do is we need to bottom out that die against the this stainless or chrome die. So you keep going until it just sort of bottoms out. That's it. You can feel it won't turn anymore. So now what we do is we loosen that up, and we're going to pull this die out of there. And then you put your flaring tool back on there. And you're going to go again until it bottoms out or won't turn anymore. It's pretty easy to do. You'll feel it'll get really hard to turn, like right there, and you know that's it. And that completes it. So we'll loosen up our wing nut, can drop that down, and there's a look at our flare ready to go. And this is why you need this piece ready to slip up on there, and that seats right in there real tight, just like that. So yeah, this is pretty handy and pretty easy to do. I think anyone could get a coil of brake line and take the time bending a couple hand tools and replace your brake lines yourself if you needed to. So guys, I'm Double Wide 6. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. You'll have to let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.